Hey everybody, today I'm going to try to do something with Zulip's REST API. Um, Person on Zulip made a pretty interesting feature request. They say it would be very useful to have a dedicated channel so that when some user's status changed, um, someone would get written to that channel, like update you on the status of their colleagues. And yeah, I can see the use case for that. Just like you kind of want to see when people come on to Zulip when they leave. Yeah, I mean, if you're on a small enough realm, you can see it in the sidebar. But I'm actually on a large enough realm that if I had a friend, whose name was like Tom or Vicky, I wouldn't be able to see them because they'd be off screen. Whereas if I want to see what Ali is up to, she's pretty high in the alphabetical order, and of course I can always see myself. But at any rate, let's see. I want to start off. Look at the overview. Um, I need to get an API key. Um, I know I want to use Python. I don't think I'm going to have to worry about authentication headers for this. Um, so let me start with the API key. Get I'm just gonna use my own API key. I'm not gonna create a bot for this. I don't want to make this look easier than it seems. I'm familiar with this API. I haven't used it in like 4 or 5 years. But obviously, if you're coming into this fresh, you wouldn't be making these decisions as quickly. But I want to get my own API key, and I want to click on the gear in the upper right corner, select personal settings. I think I can figure that out pretty quickly. I think account and privacy. Yeah, account and privacy. There it is. Uh, Actually don't know my password off the top of my head. This is annoying. All right, I'm gonna pause. Okay. I was being stupid. All I had to do was autocomplete, or not, just use the browser. Remembers my password. This is my API key. Obviously, I'm gonna change it before I upload the YouTube video. But I want to download this .zulip RC, I believe. I'm gonna open up a notepad. It would be nice if this could be just in my clipboard. I thought we used to be able to do that. I go to my remote terminal. You can see it has my email, the API key, and the site that I'm going to be interacting with, which is chat.zulip.org. And the convention is to save it as .zuliprc in your root directory, I believe. I have the sniffles because just cut the grass today. So a little bit of that in my nose. Let's see. So I got my API key. Need to do this for sure. I don't mind installing this globally. Probably have to do sudo. Pip, oh. Yeah, I'm actually running as root here, which isn't like highly recommended, but it's giving me that warning, but let me try. Okay, good. So I have Zulip. I'm going to create a project here. Let me see if I can just send a message. Probably nice if they just had a little copy paste icon here. Let me do this less clumsily. If I just do Control A, whoops, no, Control A doesn't work. If I click in here and hit Control A, you would think that's not good. All right, so I have to manually do this. I'm just calling this food API now, for lack of a better name. I don't need the shebang. Probably doesn't hurt, but I'll just run it explicitly with Python. I'll just change that to .zulip RC. Zulip has this stream called bot testing, or I should say chat.zulip.org has this stream called bot testing that's designed for testing bots and little API experiments like this one. And I don't care about direct messages. Python 3 foo.py. All right, that worked. So far, so good. That wasn't super painful. Like, there were a few things along the way that I think could be improved. Um, After I watch this video, I'll try to take some notes, but I'm trying to kind of get stuff done. But I've proven that I can actually send a message using the API. And now I want to wait for events. So that's the real-time events API. Okay, and so there's this client call on each event that essentially gets passed in a function. And if you're not totally familiar with Python, a lambda is just a shorthand term for a function. It's kind of like an inline function. Let's see. So So I'm just sort of getting that code out of the way for now. And I want to client dash call on each event. Uh, see what the args are. It is just going to be an event. And I can actually run directly from here. Oh my god. You can tell I've been writing so much JavaScript lately. Oh gosh. When you're like copy pasting code from an example, sometimes your brain turns off. Let's see. Okay. Now I'm in an event loop, so I need to generate some kind of event, and I'm actually going to generate exactly the kind of event that the person on Zulip wants to monitor. I'm going to change my status to be plain API. And sure enough, the event comes right in. So now what I want to do is anytime I change my status, I want to just say Steve changed his status. One thing that's a little unfortunate here, and I think this is actually by design and for good reason, but it's going to be slightly inconvenient to me. The event gives the user ID of 58, which is my user ID, but it doesn't tell me anything about my name. But let's at least handle what we have so far. That seems reasonable. Get my JavaScript showing. There's no way to do that with the keyboard yet. They're working on that. Edit status. Okay, so it says 58 changed their status, but of course that's not very helpful. So I want to look up the user ID of 58. So back to the API docs. Get a user. I mean, the API in Zulip, like everything's like pretty reasonable. It's like you want to get a user using their user ID. It's called get user by ID. Let me change this variable to user ID, and then let's say user. And username probably be, just read the documentation. Should be full name. And back to Zulip. Let me see if I can find a quicker way to change my status. What if I do the U menu? I just hate reaching for the mouse. Enter. Yay. It doesn't like full name. Okay. So the result of the API has like result success, and then within it, it has the user. So I'm not getting into error checking here. So U to get into the menu, down key, edit status, enter. So it said Steve Howell changed their status. That is indeed my name. But obviously I'm printing it to the console, and what I want to do instead is print it to the stream. And I've kind of already laid the foundation for that. Right. I should mention that because I'm on a message that has me. This is me. I'm Steve Howell. That's a picture of me sailing. I can hit the U hotkey to open up my user menu. Down, edit the status, hit enter, and it's working. And the reason that's pink is I have a Zulip alert set so that whenever somebody says Steve, it shows it in pink. Obviously, I'm not the only Steve on Zulip, but it happens rarely enough that that's a useful alert word. So that was weird though. I had that error in my console. Hold on. Oh yeah, I think I know what's missing here is that I need to. These events can be almost anything. And I need to check that the type of the event is actually a user status event. Let me clear. Says message sent. The message was indeed sent. I'll just stop this. So here's the program. I import Zulip. I tell I create a Zulip client object using my Zulip RC, which I downloaded using the Zulip app by going into my personal settings. I created this little send helper, which now sends to the bot testing stream using the topic of Steve bot, but of course you would change that according to your own needs. I call client send message in my send function, but the more maybe reading it from the bottom up, I call this client call on each event with the handle event. If the event's not something that I'm interested, I simply return. Otherwise, I pull out the user ID from the event, call get user by ID, get the full name, and then call my send helper to send the message. And I just print something to the Python standard output. And that's it. So I hope that's helpful. If you want to improve on this, by far the best resource is the documentation. Okay, thank you for listening. Bye.